this is one of the biggest things that I see in the mom groups. And there's actually an article written by evidence-based birth, Rebecca Decker. She writes about what is the evidence for a cesarean or induction for a big baby. The truth, there isn't much. In fact, one of our Empowered Birth community members ended up having a home birth after cesarean with an 11-pounder. So if she can do it with an 11-pound baby, your 9-pound baby or 8-pound baby that your doctor's trying to scare you with, probably not a big deal. And we've had several stories where moms have had big babies at home with no complications. In fact, the whole fear of a big baby is completely unfounded. And it's based on the idea that you would have problems birthing this baby because they would have shoulder dystocia, which means that the baby would get their shoulders stuck. Now, this isn't true though, because oftentimes a lot of what's done in maternity care leads to babies getting stuck. If you're flat on your back, your pelvis is more constricted than if you're able to move freely. If you're on your hands and knees, your pelvis is open. If your knees are closed inward instead of outward, that is also going to allow your baby to be able to pass through your pelvis. And it seems counterintuitive because your legs are together, but it opens the pelvic outlet so that your baby can come out. In fact, there's videos that you can see about this. And a lot of times, what do you see is that you're trying to push and your doctor is telling you to keep your legs wide open, or they even have the nurse hold your legs wider apart. And that, plus being on your back, can lead to your baby getting stuck. So you see where the problem is. The other thing is that with a big baby, your care provider's fear of the big baby can cause more problems and more intervention than an actual big baby. If you're physiologically birthing a big baby, then your body is going to naturally signal for you to get into certain positions to help that baby out. But because birth has become heavily controlled and it's become this big thing of fear, and because C-sections are now so easy to do, now when you're having a big baby, well, they're just going to push you into a C-section, especially if you're attempting to have a VBAC, because then they'll say your baby has to be under a certain weight in order for you to have a successful VBAC. Well, again, this client just had a home birth after cesarean and with an 11-pounder. So I don't know what to tell you on that one. I'd say that maybe you want to do a little bit more questioning when it comes to your doctor telling you that your baby's too big for you to birth vaginally. There's no such thing. Now, I will preface that by saying that if your baby happens to be big because of gestational diabetes or chronic diabetes, like if that's the case, then sometimes their shoulders and their chests are larger, but their head is still the same. And again, this is if the diet is uncontrolled and there's a lot of sugar and it's just the makeup of the baby. But when they're doing studies about big babies, often what happens is they lump everything together because they need to get a certain sample size so the data gets skewed. So big baby, not a reason to be scheduling a C-section. And if they say, well, your baby was 8 pounds or 9 pounds, and that's why you weren't able to birth them, and that's why you had a C-section, I would really question that, because again, there are moms who have had C-sections for babies that were supposed to be big, and then they went on to have VBACs with babies that were much bigger, and their labors were a lot easier. So it wasn't that. And if you see any more traps that I've mentioned before about natural birth traps, then hey, I would love to hear from you what you're spotting out there in the mom community. I can't be everywhere at once. So you can always send me a message, or you can put it inside of the Facebook group, because what I do is I collect all of those and then I put them in a nice list so that you can then recognize them. And then I teach content on it as well. So if you're loving these videos, please like, share, and subscribe on my YouTube channel. You can go to empoweringmomsbirth.com as well and check out my website where I have a bunch of resources. I'm creating a blog now and follow me on all my social media channels at Empowering Moms Birth. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Talk to you soon.